Hi guys, it's Mark from SilencedTech, back again with another review. Have you ever gone to a LAN party before with your desktop PC? If so, you'll know all too well getting it there can be a real pain. A PC can be hard to carry, let alone a monitor and everything else you're going to need. Of course, your only other choice is going to be a gaming laptop or notebook, and today we're going to be checking out a gaming notebook from MSI, the GE62 7RE APACHE Pro. Packing some killer features, it remains affordable and as lightweight as possible, surprisingly only weighing in at 2.4 kilograms with a large 15.6 inch display. The panel itself features a full HD 1920 by 1080 IPS screen, offering true colours and great viewing angles. Checking out the display on a black wallpaper, I couldn't notice any IPS glow whatsoever. Also, the panel seems to be limited to just 60Hz. I couldn't find any options in the Nvidia control panel to even attempt to change or overclock the refresh rate. Inside the GE62 is one of Intel's newest Kaby Lake 7th Gen processors, the i7-7700HQ. It has a base clock of 2.8 GHz and goes all the way up to 3.39 GHz in turbo mode, featuring 4 cores, 8 threads and 6 MB of L3 cache. While gaming, the CPU did hit pretty high temperatures, especially in games like GTA 5. Even with the fans cranked up to 100%, it still hit 80 degrees Celsius. Comparing the 7700HQ against its desktop counterpart, the 7700K in Cinebench was pointless, as you'd imagine it didn't fare too well with a base clock of only 2.8 GHz. That said, it's paired up inside this notebook with a fairly low-end GPU, so you shouldn't have to worry about any CPU bottleneck while gaming. Speaking of the GPU, the 1050 Ti inside this GE62 will get the job done nicely. At 1080p 60Hz, the 1050 Ti will allow you to select fairly decent settings in game. For the most part, you can expect to see the same frame rates as you'd expect to see on any desktop gaming PC running a 1050 Ti. At the end of the video, I will show you guys some benchmarks with the GE62 up against the 7700K and a desktop MSI Gaming X 1050 Ti, and it should make for a nice comparison. RAM, the notebook has 8GB of DDR4 clocked at 2400 MHz, more than enough for most games. For storage, the notebook has 128GB M.2 SSD, ideally just for running the OS, and a 1TB hard drive to store all of your games on. Unfortunately, storing all of your games on a slower hard drive is really the only choice you have with this notebook, which will cause slower loading times. For battery life, it was okay, lasting for a couple of hours when you're doing something like watching a film, but just over an hour when you're doing some intensive gaming. Checking out the trackpad and keyboard, they're excellent at this price point. The trackpad seems to work very well. It has a premium but unfortunately textured finish. Personally, I prefer trackpads to be smooth, but at least the left and right buttons give off nice tactile clicks. The keyboard is extremely nice for a notebook, and it's made by SteelSeries. Of course, I found it a lot harder to type on compared to a full mechanical keyboard, but I slowly got used to it over time. It's a nice trade-off too to have something so slim and portable. You also get the option to adjust the colours on the keyboard's backlighting using the SteelSeries software. In the far right corner, there's a power button, a button to cycle through the keyboard's lighting effects, and lastly one that will put the fans at full speed. If we move around to the notebook's left side, there's a LAN port, 2 Type A USB 3.0 ports, 1 HDMI port that only outputs 4K at 30Hz unfortunately. There's 1 mini display port, 1 Type C USB 3.1 Gen 2 port, and over to the right side there's a DVD drive, a SD card reader, 1 USB 2.0 port, and of course the power connector. For audio, the GE62 has 4 speakers built into it underneath from Dyne Audio, and helping to drive your headphones is Audio Boost 2. I would highly recommend using headphones with this notebook due to the fact that the audio sounds excellent, especially when you're using the Nahimic software. The speakers, well, they get the job done. So that's pretty much it for the specs and features. It's time to see how well it performs in the latest games. Temperatures in any notebook or laptop is extremely important, so I've added max temps to each of the games I've tested on both the CPU and GPU. Let's do this. So there you have it guys, the notebook has a lot going for it and it manages to keep up with its desktop counterpart. The GE62 7RE APACHE Pro is pretty well priced. The CPU and GPU complement each other perfectly, and if you're thinking of picking up the GE62, it will last you for a very long time, running all of the latest games out right now. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed the review. I'm Mark from Totally SilencedTech. Goodbye.